You're staring at your phone. You see the messages piling up, but your fingers feel completely paralyzed. People think you're ignoring them, that you're being selfish, cold, or just ghosting. But they don't know the truth. You haven't stopped caring. Your nervous system has just collapsed. If you have ever found yourself pulling away from the world when life gets too heavy, you already know this feeling intimately. It usually starts quietly. Maybe it's a perfectly normal afternoon. You have a few unread texts from a friend asking to catch up, an email from a coworker that needs a quick reply, and a family group chat that won't stop buzzing. To anyone else, it is just routine communication. But to you, in that specific moment, it feels like an insurmountable mountain. Your social battery isn't just low, it is entirely depleted. And I don't mean that as a casual metaphor. I mean a profound, physical exhaustion deep in your bones. Your brain screams at you to just type a simple, "I'm busy, let's talk later." But the sheer emotional effort of translating your internal chaos into socially acceptable words feels absolutely impossible. So, you do the only thing your body allows you to do. You put the phone face down, you retreat, you disappear. And almost immediately, the outside world starts assigning labels to your silence. They call it arrogant. They call it emotionally unavailable. They assume you are just being a bad friend, a flaky partner, or an irresponsible person who abandons others. The second things get slightly inconvenient, but there is a profound secret that people who disappear never say out loud. Your silence doesn't come from a place of apathy. It doesn't mean you don't care. In fact, it is the exact opposite. You went quiet because you care so deeply and you absorb so much of the world's weight that your internal emotional system simply shattered under the pressure. You aren't pushing people away to hurt them. You are hiding because you are desperately trying to survive your own mind. The truth is, your brain is treating a complaining text from a coworker, a passive-aggressive comment from a partner, or an endless stream of social obligations exactly the same way our ancient ancestors treated a predator in the wild. Let's look inside your mind for a second. Deep within your brain is the amygdala, your internal alarm system. Its only purpose is to scan your environment for danger and keep you alive. But here is the tragic flaw of the modern human brain. Your amygdala hasn't updated its software in thousands of years. It cannot distinguish between a physical threat to your survival and an emotional threat to your peace. When you are bombarded with relentless demands, unspoken expectations, or emotional conflict, that alarm bell rings just as violently as if you were truly in danger. To understand why your response to this is total silence, we have to look at one of the most profound discoveries in neuroscience, the polyvagal theory. Think of your nervous system as a ladder with 3 distinct rungs. When you are at the top of the ladder, you feel safe, anchored, and connected. You can text back easily, you can laugh, you can engage with the world. But as stress piles up, as your boundaries are repeatedly crossed, or the noise of life just gets too loud, you drop down to the second rung. This is the fight or flight state. This is where anxiety lives. Your heart races, your breathing gets shallow, you might get irritable, defensive, or feel a desperate, frantic urge to fix everything immediately. But what happens when fight or flight fails? What happens when the stress is chronic, when you can't fight your way out of burnout, and you can't physically run away from your responsibilities, your relationships, or the crushing weight of expectations? Your nervous system makes a devastatingly brilliant calculation. It decides that fighting is useless and running is impossible. So, to save your life, it drops to the very bottom rung of the ladder. This is the dorsal vagal response, the ultimate emergency brake, the total system shutdown. This is the exact moment you go silent. It is a biological phenomenon where your body enters a profound state of energy conservation. It is the psychological equivalent of hibernation, or an animal playing dead to survive an attack. Have you ever sat on the edge of your bed, staring blankly at the wall for 20 minutes, feeling completely immobilized? That is not laziness. That is not you being dramatic. That is the dorsal vagal shutdown in action. Your heart rate literally slows down. Your emotional bandwidth drops to 0. A heavy, numbing fog rolls over your brain. It's not that you don't want to interact with the people you love. It's that your biology has temporarily revoked your ability to do so. Your body is pulling the plug to prevent a total psychological short circuit. This is exactly why trying to force yourself to type out a reply when you are in this state feels physically painful. You are trying to engage socially while your nervous system is screaming that you are in mortal danger and must remain completely invisible to survive. You are fighting millions of years of evolution. So, if you have spent years carrying the heavy, toxic belief that you are just a broken, dysfunctional person who can't handle normal life, I need you to put that burden down right now. Take a deep breath and let it go. Your disappearance is not a character flaw. It is a highly evolved, deeply ingrained biological defense mechanism. Your body is doing exactly what it was designed to do. It is protecting you, holding you in a safe, quiet darkness when it feels like the outside world is simply too loud to survive. When you first drop off the radar and shut the world out, there is a split second of pure, intoxicating relief. The relentless noise of expectations abruptly stops. The constant demands on your time, your energy, and your empathy are put on hold. It feels like you have finally stepped off a treadmill that was running at maximum speed while you were barely able to walk. For that first hour, you breathe. You tell yourself, I just need a little time, just one evening to myself. I will handle it all tomorrow when my head is clear. But if you are someone who repeatedly falls into this pattern of disappearing, you know exactly what happens next. That fragile peace doesn't last. It almost never does. Almost as soon as the silence settles in your room, a dark, heavy cloud of guilt begins to form in the back of your mind. You look at your phone, lying face down on the nightstand, and it no longer looks like a device. It feels like a ticking time bomb. You can practically feel the unread notifications radiating through the glass. You start thinking about the friend who reached out to check on you. You imagine them sitting on the other end, feeling rejected, feeling unimportant. You think about the casual message you didn't answer, suddenly imagining the sender judging your character, deciding that you are arrogant or dismissive. The very action you took to escape your anxiety has now become the core source of a brand new, paralyzing panic. And here is where the psychological trap violently closes in on you. The transition from guilt to shame. Guilt is the uncomfortable feeling of, I did something bad. But very quickly, your exhausted, overwhelmed brain metabolizes that guilt into something much more insidious and dangerous. Toxic shame. Shame is the deep, sinking feeling of, I am bad. You stop thinking, I should have replied to that text, and you start deeply believing, I am a terrible friend. I am a deeply flawed partner. I am entirely incapable of maintaining normal, healthy relationships. I am fundamentally broken. This toxic shame acts like a heavy, suffocating blanket over your nervous system. It makes the idea of returning to the world, of opening that messaging app and finally typing out a reply, feel infinitely more terrifying today than it did yesterday. Because now, you don't just have to answer a simple question. You feel like you have to apologize for your entire existence. You have to explain away your psychological collapse to a world that only speaks the language of constant productivity and instant availability. And this brings us to one of the most heartbreaking, tragic paradoxes of human psychology. It is the core truth that the outside world completely and utterly misses about you. People who are on the receiving end of your silence, the ones who send the double texts, the ones who roll their eyes or get angry when you go quiet. They often assume that you are just out there living your life, completely indifferent to their feelings. They construct a narrative where you are cold, carefree, and callously ignoring them. But the reality? The person who disappeared is almost always obsessing over the relationship infinitely more than the person who was left on read. You are not out having a great time. You are not willfully ignoring anyone out of spite. You are sitting alone in your room, agonizing over the exact wording of an apology text you are too paralyzed to hit send on. You are replaying conversations from weeks ago, dissecting every micro-interaction, punishing yourself for not being better, faster, or emotionally stronger. The silence on the outside might seem impenetrable, but the noise inside your head is deafening. You are trapped in a self-made emotional prison, serving a life sentence of guilt for the simple crime of being overwhelmed. So, the next time you feel that suffocating wave of shame washing over you because you needed to take a step back, remember this one undeniable fact. A person who doesn't care doesn't lose sleep over their silence. The very fact that you feel so much agonizing guilt is the ultimate proof of your deep, unwavering empathy. You are not a bad person. You are simply a deeply feeling person who has run out of armor. You didn't just wake up one day in your 20s or 30s and decide to become someone who disappears on the people they love. This behavior didn't start with your current burnout, your demanding job, or a frustrating relationship. Your brain was programmed to do this a long, long time ago. It likely started around the time you were 7 or 8 years old, when an adult in your life taught you a very dangerous, unspoken lesson, that your emotional exhaustion was a burden. I want you to think back to your childhood for a moment. Were you actually allowed to be tired? Were you allowed to say no, to have a bad day, or to be overwhelmed without facing a guilt trip, a punishment, or the dreaded silent treatment? For many of you listening right now, the honest answer is no. You grew up in an environment where your worth was entirely tied to how good, how compliant, and how emotionally convenient you were for the adults around you. You were probably praised for being the easy child, the mature one, the peacemaker. You were the kid who never caused trouble. But being the easy child usually comes with a massive hidden cost. It means you had to swallow your own difficult emotions so that the adults around you wouldn't have to deal with them. What happened when you did try to speak up? Think about what happened when you were truly overwhelmed and you tried to express it out loud. Maybe you were told you were being too sensitive or dramatic. Maybe you were told to stop crying, to get over it, or given a lecture about how other people had it so much worse. Every single time you expressed a negative emotion or a boundary and were met with dismissal, frustration, or anger, your young, developing brain was taking furious notes. It was learning a devastating rule of survival. Expressing my needs leads to conflict. Revealing my pain makes me completely unsafe. So, you learnt to walk on eggshells. You developed a hyper-vigilant radar, constantly scanning the shifting moods of the people around you, adjusting your behavior to keep the peace. And in that highly unpredictable environment, you discovered your greatest, most reliable superpower: silence. Silence was safe. If you didn't speak, you couldn't say the wrong thing. If you disappeared into your bedroom and closed the door, you couldn't be a burden. You learned to shrink your presence to survive your reality. Fast forward to today. You are a fully grown adult, but that wounded inner child is still sitting directly behind the control panel of your nervous system. When your phone blows up with demands, when your partner wants to have a heavy emotional conversation, or when life simply demands too much of you, you aren't just reacting to the present moment, you are reacting to every single time you were made to feel like a burden in your past. You disappear because that young child inside of you is utterly terrified of being judged or punished for being overwhelmed. So, before we talk about how to fix this, I need you to look at that part of yourself with profound, radical compassion. The silence you carry is not a character flaw. It is the heavy armor you built when you were too small to fight back. It kept you safe when you had absolutely no other protection. But you need to realize something deeply important. You are not that helpless child anymore. You are an adult, you have agency, and you are safe now. Your armor did its job, but today it is only weighing you down. So, how do we actually break this cycle? The standard advice you will hear from almost every self-help article and well-meaning friend is that you just need to communicate better. They tell you to push through the discomfort, open up, and explain exactly how you are feeling in the moment. But if you have been listening to everything we just talked about, you know exactly why that advice is completely useless. When your nervous system is in a dorsal vagal shutdown and your inner child is terrified of being a burden, telling you to just communicate is like telling someone with a broken leg to just jog it off. It is physically and psychologically impossible in that moment. So, we are going to do something radical. We are going to completely throw away the idea that you have to stay and fight through your exhaustion. I am giving you absolute, unconditional permission to disappear. You have the right to retreat. You have the right to put your phone on airplane mode and stare at the ceiling. But we are going to change how you disappear. You are going to learn the art of responsible disappearing. Right now, when you go silent, you vanish without a trace. That leaves the people who care about you completely in the dark, which triggers their anxiety, which makes them reach out more, which ultimately triggers your shame. To break this loop, you do not need to give them a long, deeply emotional explanation. You only need to practice something called micro-vulnerability. Micro-vulnerability is the act of leaving a tiny, emotional breadcrumb before you step into the dark. It requires only 1% of your battery, but it saves you 99% of the guilt later. Here is your exact safe exit framework. I want you to literally screenshot these scripts, save them in your phone's Notes app, and copy-paste them the next time you feel your system shutting down. You do not even have to type them out when you are overwhelmed. Just hit paste and press send. Scenario 1. For your close friends or your partner. The most terrifying thing for them is wondering if they did something wrong. So, you send this. Hey, my social battery just hit 0 and I am completely overwhelmed. I need to go quiet for a couple of days to recharge. Please know we are totally good and I am not upset with you. I just need some space. I'll reach out when I'm back. That single sentence, "we are totally good," is magic. It turns off their brain's alarm system, which stops them from double texting you, which allows you to actually rest without guilt. Scenario 2. For family members or casual friends. You don't need to over-explain your mental health to people who might not understand it. Keep it beautifully vague but firm. Hey, I've got a really heavy week and I'm not going to be on my phone much at all. Just wanted to give you a heads up so you don't worry. I'll circle back when things settle down. Scenario 3. For work and professional obligations. I am stepping away to focus on some deep recovery and will be slow to respond to messages. I will get back to you by Thursday. By sending just one of these copied texts, you have fundamentally changed the dynamic. You are no longer ghosting. You are establishing a clear, healthy boundary. You are taking control of your absence. But there is one more crucial step to this framework, and it happens before the crisis hits. It is called the silence protocol. You cannot explain your vanishing act while you are vanishing. You have to explain it during peacetime, when you are on that top rung of the ladder, when you feel safe, connected, and rested. That is when you sit down with the people who matter most and you tell them the truth. You say, "Sometimes I get so overwhelmed that my brain just shuts down. When that happens, I can't text back. I isolate. I want you to know it is a trauma response. It is how I protect myself, and it has absolutely nothing to do with how much I love you." When you set up the silence protocol in advance, your loved ones stop taking your absence personally. They stop seeing it as a rejection and start seeing it for what it truly is, a temporary pause. You are allowed to take a break from the world. You just need to show the world how to wait for you. The next time you feel that heavy, overwhelming urge to retreat into a quiet room and cut off all contact with the outside world, I want you to remember this one absolute truth. Your silence is never just silence. It is not a weapon you are using to punish the people around you. It is a shield. It is a heavy, necessary armor you are using to protect a deeply exhausted, fragile version of yourself. You are allowed to put that armor on when the world gets too loud. You just need to learn how to take it off when the storm passes. And if you happen to be watching this right now because someone you deeply care about has gone quiet on you, I ask you to do one thing. Please, do not meet their silence with anger, accusations, or relentless demands. When they pull away, they are not trying to hurt you. They are fighting an invisible war inside their own nervous system. Meet their retreat with patience. Let them know you are holding a safe space for them when they are ready to return. Sometimes, the absolute greatest gift you can give a person is the grace to be broken for a little while without demanding an immediate explanation. If you are the one who shuts down, and you simply do not have the energy or the vocabulary to explain your mental exhaustion to the people in your life, you don't have to. Just send them this video. Let it do the heavy lifting for you. Let it be the explanation you couldn't speak out loud. Before you go, if you are someone who tends to disappear when you are overwhelmed, I want to hear your story. What is the absolute hardest part about finally coming back and reconnecting after a period of isolation? Share your experience down in the comments below. I promise you, reading through those comments will show you that you are far from alone in this struggle. If this conversation made you feel a little more seen, a little less broken, and a little more understood today, please hit that subscribe button and join our community. We explore the deep psychology of our everyday struggles so we can finally start healing together. Take a deep, slow breath. Forgive yourself for needing rest. You are going to be okay. I will see you in the next video.